Have you ever had a moment in time when someone asked you a question that made you really think about your life? A few years ago, I had a moment like that. A moment when I began to truly wonder what made me feel happy and what happiness really is. So we jumped in the van and took a journey across America, asking all kinds of people what the pursuit of happiness really is. It helped me understand why some people are really happy or sad, content, or restless, all in this land we call home. Now, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's just take a step back to where it all began.
We hold these truths
to be self-evident.
Self-evident. That all men and women
are created equal.
That they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights.
That among these are life,
liberty,
and the pursuit
of happiness.
Jefferson, he wanted a third element of this trinity of values. Life, yeah, that's a value to go for. Liberty, everybody wants to be free. Everybody wants to enjoy a personal liberty. Pursuit of happiness, now there you go. That's something to strive for because everybody wants happiness.
I think the notion of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is absolutely central to American culture. It's the great promise of America to all who have come here, that you will be free here to express yourself. Everyone has a different definition of happiness, but to develop your own definition and then to pursue it, that truly is the opportunity that America has offered all those who have come here in the past.
What constitutes happiness? Your happiness is different from my happiness. But what you have a right to is to pursue it, whatever it might be.
The pursuit of happiness is such a broad term. We had to ask a whole bunch of people in some of the busiest city streets and some of the quietest country roads what it might mean to them.
That sounds good, or what?
Some were more cooperative than others.
Well, you come to the wrong place.
Yeah, we got our opinion.
No, you don't want to take picture of ugly thing. I got my opinion. I ain't giving it out. And I got 2 big pistols in the house.
But he can't get in to get the guns anyway. Don't worry about it.
Hey, I got news for you. I got one where I can get it right now. I'll come hunting for you.
Oh, buddy.
So what's the pursuit of happiness for a rock star?
Me? Oh, I can't say on this. It's too filthy. I can't possibly.
We actually found a town that calls itself happy, so we figured they would definitely know.
What do you think makes happiness, since you seem to be pretty happy?
But it's...
We'd be glad for everyone to come by and see us in happy Texas, the town without a frown.
Now, of course, a New Yorker would certainly have a lot to say about this.
Happiness is the void, the blankness, because I feel it. You know, it's the joyous challenge. Like I said, it takes no talent to hurt people or insult them or make them cry or kill them.
We can be sitting one day with birds singing, clouds passing over, a beautiful, simple, quiet day. Meanwhile, looking inside our head is like watching an all-day plane crash. It's like, what am I going to do about this in the past, in the future?
The pursuit of happiness is, I believe, every man seeking what is his goal in life, pursuing that, finding it along the way, and also finding along the way some things that that maybe don't pertain to happiness, We all walk in and out of some sad things in life, I think, some sorrows and some real troubles, sicknesses, suffering, but it's in handling those things and overcoming them and moving on that I think we find our happiness.
It is the discontent that is the greatest triumph and also at times the greatest impediment to being happy and having peace of mind.
It's a pretty confusing world. You go to any major bookstore and there are thousands of books that promise to make you happy. And the strange thing is the next year there will be 1,000 different books promising the same thing. There's got to be something wrong here. I'm a scientist, and so for me, when I want answers that I think are uncontaminated by prejudices, uncontaminated by people's philosophies and beliefs, that are as objective as we can possibly get, I turn to science. So I think the science of happiness is now in place to give us the best answers we can get to the questions human beings have been asking for a whole long time, which is, what are the real sources of happiness in a human life, and how can I tell what they are, and how can I achieve them?
So the word happiness, in English, the root is hap. It's an old English and Old Norse term, hap, which just means chance or fortune. So we have words like happenstance. And this holds in, as I say, in every language. And I think it's actually very interesting because embedded in the word happiness itself is this idea that on some level you can't fully control happiness, that, you know, happiness is out of your hands. And so if you're pursuing something all the time that you can't ever fully control, well, you know, you've set yourself a large and maybe impossible task.
Many of us have become disillusioned with the Western solution. We've seen it hasn't brought happiness. Now, what I mean by that is, one of the best things about going to college is you find out it doesn't make you happy. It doesn't come with a degree. Now, there are people who haven't gone to college who go years saying, if only I'd gone to college, I might be happier. They cling to that belief. And it's the same is true for having children, getting married, raising a family, having a good job. Nothing wrong with any of those things, of course, but nothing in itself leads to happiness.
I think that many people who are very ambitious are often driven by an idea of the arrival fallacy or their version of it, and the ability to be happy while you're pursuing those things is possible, but I think it's very challenging for most people.
I think there's a number of people, if you see conversations people are having around kitchen tables, wherever you are, Des Moines or Seattle or San Francisco or Washington, D.C. or New York, many, many more people are having spontaneous conversations about what's important in their life. Some people are trying to touch religion, faith, many things, but I think those conversations are happening more and more, in my view, around the country, trying to figure out what it is that they need to fulfill themselves.
Happiness is certainly a relative psychological phenomenon. As has been pointed out by many writers and researchers, there are people in third world countries they're happy if they just get a little bit to eat that day. If they have a loving family around them, they have a different sense of perspective. And it's natural for people to have more, to want more, because to them, just getting a little bit to eat doesn't really feel like happiness to them. So it's all relative. There are people with multi-millions of dollars who want another $1 million to make them happy.
The evolutionary psychologists talk about the hedonic treadmill. It's like we're on a treadmill. You know, we want a little bit of happiness, of pleasure. We get it, and then we, you know, go up for a little while, and then we slide back down. And we're constantly doing this, you know, striving for more.
Hey, I'm not making a mess, I'm recycling. Remember to set your watch tomorrow. You know, art heals and saves lives. Everybody knows that. Cheaper than a therapist. See, New York has a river of garbage. And the river of garbage endless, like the river of possibilities. And my mouth, okay, 3 endless rivers. This is how I stay warm. How do you do it? See, my brain and my mouth are in great shape because I work them out. The rest of me is a ripping mess. Thank God for Medicaid. I'm fronting joy right now, but I'm a pretty good actor, aren't I? have some health issues, some compromised blood. Thank you, taxpayer, for keeping me alive. Because the government's also sending other Americans to their doom, aren't they? I'd like to keep it on ART, but I can't help it to go to WAR. And merci, Albert, and people always ask me if I'm Mr. Camus. No, I'm not Mr. Camus, I'm Mr. Courtney, but it's a Courtney Camus production. If only everything that banged my head was a balloon.
I've heard it said that we're a society of consumers, and consumerism can be defined by equating personal happiness with the purchasing of material possessions. So if we buy all this stuff, how does it affect our happiness?
Happiness emerges as an earthly end and pursuit in Western society.